Thank you, Sebastian, for your time. It's a pleasure to speak to you before your next fight. How are you doing today?
Of course, of course.
Uh, a lot. I wanted to start off with this. A lot has been made to do about your height. Every time you fight, you have to hear about the height, the height, the height, the height. What I would like to know is, what does your diet look like in the course of a day? What do you eat during a normal day when you're not fighting? Like, what does it look like for you?
Well, I'm on the seafood diet. I eat everything. I eat everything, whether I'm training or not. But I do eat healthy. It's not like I'm eating McDonald's every single day or lots of junk food. The most I do is a couple pieces of candy, but that's about it. That's like a late night craving. It's nothing crazy ever.
When people assume that, when you're a lean person that you can just eat everything, and luckily for you, you can. So that's pretty great.
Yes.
In your last fight, you had a four-round victory over Jorge Cota. When you look back at this fight, what did that fight teach you about yourself? What did you learn from that outing with him?
Just like every other fight, the hard work pays off. We had a good camp for that fighter, and we got the result that we wanted.
Mm-hmm. When there's other fighters coming up, the fight that's coming up against Sergio, he's ranked by the WC number 2 by the WBC, and ahead of you are also Charlo and Lubin, and you're going to face him, and then there's Sizu. With those 3 remaining guys, how would you match them up? Because we're trying to look into the future, and with a win for either you or possibly Garcia, could be facing one of those guys. So if you could match the guys that are ahead of you in the WBC, how would you match them?
Well, I've been ready to fight the top 10 already. So it's just not how do I fight them, or how do I level myself, is when am I gonna fight them? Because we're ready. We've been ready. We wait for these calls. They give us the fight, and we fight them, and we always win.
When your entire family is a boxing family, including your mother, everybody has advice to give when you're a boxer, particularly those who do it like you. What is some of the best in-fight advice that your mother has given you, since she too has also spent some time in the ring?
Well, it's usually my father and my mother are practically a team. So when they talk, they talk together, and it's just stay focused on your job, stay focused on the work, and everything comes in eventually.
Is it possible to have other hobbies? Because you all work hard, you train hard, but there are times that you're going to have to decompress or take some time for yourself. What do you enjoy when you're not in the ring?
Really, all I do is box. I do boxing, I sleep, and I eat. My hobby is eating different food, I guess.
Are you a student of boxing? Do you focus solely on yourself, or do you enjoy the sport as a fan still at this point in your career?
Oh, of course, I think you have to be a fan of boxing to love it or to do it. You gotta be pretty crazy to get punched in the face, and watch other people get punched in the face and even more crazier. So definitely a fan of boxing.
Mm-hmm. Your focus is always on the win, no matter how the win comes, whether it's knockout or distance, or however the win is achieved. From the fan perspective, what type of fight style appeals to you? What are active fighters who have a style that you find enjoyable that are outside of your weight class?
Well, this last weekend with Porter and Crawford, that was a pretty good fight. But both of them, they have 2 different styles, but both styles are exciting. We have Crawford with the boxing, and when he steps back and he hits Porter with every single punch, and then there's the aggressiveness from Porter that makes the fight exciting, that makes it a fight. He can't just let this guy walk him over. He's gonna make it a fight, make it dirty, or whatever he needs to do to win that fight too.
Mm-hmm. When you look back at your own past victories, what do you think are your best victories? What is a fight that you've seen of yourself, no matter if it was an amateur fight or a pro fight, where you felt like you really put it together and you enjoyed the outcome more so than some of the others?
I like my last fight, because you're only as good as your last fight. That was a pretty good one. And then I think the one with Gallimore, that was a solid win.
What do you revisit those fight when you get ready for a new fight? Do you ever go back and look at any of those of your past wins to just look at fundamentals or anything like that?
Sometimes, but I don't really look at it. I look at stuff that I made mistakes on, but I probably watch the fight one time, and that's all I need to notice for me to go back into the gym and work on those things.
Mhm. Are you a fan of watching older fights? Do you keep your boxing viewing current, or do you like to look at historical fights or anything like that?
Oh yeah, you have to. If you're a fan of sport, you love it all. You love it all. The beginning of boxing towards the end. You know,
Mhm.
boxing's always been evolving, but you can still always go back and grab the little tricks they have from back then.
Mhm. When you look at some of those ones that you've enjoyed, do you have a favorite or a few favorites that that you go back to from time to time that you enjoy?
Yeah, Willie Pep.
Tell
Willie
me
Pep.
about Willie Pep. What does Willie Pep mean to you?
Well, he's one of the boxers that won. He's the only boxer that won around. They said that he won around without throwing a punch. So that's interesting right there. That's just a movement right there. And like I said, maybe not the punching or how they used to say block punchers or whatever, but movement was always the thing. And like Muhammad Ali, you look at Muhammad Ali and his head movement was always good. You can use his head movement from today's boxing. And yeah, you just grab what you need from them or what you like from them, and you can use it on today's type of boxing.
How much does that influence your style? You're mentioning head movement. How much do you spend on your own head movement? What is the fight? What is the part of your fight game that you enjoy the most? When you look at how you perform, is it about, obviously there's always going to be a size advantage, reach advantage, but what of your skills do you think, if you had to introduce yourself to someone, what skills would you say is the best introduction to who you are as a fighter?
I like to walk down fighters and just break them down every round. Um, put a lot of pressure. That's why I like fighters like Porter, who just go. It seems like chaotic almost to themselves, where they're getting hit, but they go in there and they just run through the guy.
Mhm. Some people think that a pressure fighter means they're kind of undisciplined. That's not true, but that is a thought about amongst fight fans. What do you think is misunderstood about fighters who fight in that pressure style? What do
I think
fans not see that you as a fighter know?
I think you have to be disciplined to be fighting the pressures. It's like keeping cool or keeping calm in a bad situation, say a fire, and instead of running around everywhere and making it a bigger problem than it is, you grab a fire extinguisher ready, or you have a bucket of water. You know how to handle the problem, and that's why I say they're comfortable with what they're doing. So if they're going into the fire, they're comfortable going into fire because they know that what they're gonna do.
Fighting in that style takes fighting in any style really takes a lot of mental toughness. So how do you keep your mental toughness intact? Are you a man that likes to meditate? What type of exercises do you enjoy? Yoga? What type of exercises that do you enjoy to keep that mental toughness at the forefront of your mind when you're preparing for a fight?
Oh, my dad raised me tough. I think everything in life that he taught me, that just to keep a tough mentality. And boxing's tough, yeah, but I feel like with just the way he raised us, it just raised us to be tough through any situation, not just boxing, with just life. And boxing is just part of it.
Mhm. What is the best advice that your father gave you about boxing that you think can apply to real life, that you would share with your younger fans that are looking up to you?
Yeah, respect the sport, and the sport will respect you. As in, respect life, and life will respect you back. You do drugs all the time, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna hurt your body. If you drink all the time, stuff like that. If you make bad decisions, it's gonna come up eventually. And that's the same thing with boxing. If you party, if I'm not focused on the job, if I'm going out and chasing girls and stuff like that, that's what's gonna mess me up in the sport. And sticking to it will keep me on track. And it's been like that.
Mhm. And lastly, if you had to stop boxing today and choose a different professional sport, what's a professional sport that you're confident that you could play well right now?
I don't know how to play anything. I can't throw a ball. I can't do nothing. So I'll probably go for something like curling, or I don't know, Winter Olympics.
That's awesome. I didn't expect you to say curling. Well, I like that. I appreciate that. Well, I thank you for your time. Best of
Thank
luck
you.
in your fight, and good luck in your climb up the super welterweight ranks. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.